If you're installing IP security cameras, by default, you're limited to a maximum cable run length of about 328 feet. Here I have a 328-foot cable run, I have an IP camera, and I have a POE switch. As you can see, I got a nice video feed and everything's working fine. But if you've installed IP cameras long enough, chances are you ran into a scenario where you need to run past that maximum 328-foot distance. Well, what do? This is the OUTDOOREXT by IP CamPower, and it's one of the best tools that you can have if you need to extend cable runs past that 328-foot distance. Here I have another 328-foot run, and I'm going to connect these two cables with a standard network cable coupler, and I'm going to show you how it doesn't work past 328 feet. So while I unplug this camera, pay attention to the network activity light on the POE switch. See which one goes out. So it was that far left one that gave us the indication that the camera was working. So what I'm going to do is connect this coupler here and connect it to the black cable. Lastly, I'm going to connect the camera. Okay, now you can see the camera is receiving power because you can see the IR light. But let's check out the network activity light. You can see it just kind of blinking. It's coming on and off. Doesn't seem to be working right. Also, the camera feed is frozen. It just kind of went off the screen there. Doesn't seem to be working right. It's just not making a good solid connection for that network activity. So let's plug in the IP CamPower OUTDOOREXT and see what happens. Now, I removed the weatherproof grommets off the ends of this just for this video purpose, for speed purposes. But this does have an input and output side, and the orientation is important. The input side needs to be connected towards the POE switch, and the output side needs to be connected towards the camera. So we're getting power again, which is good. Let's take a look at that network activity light. We're getting a lot more solid network activity light, so that's good. It's going to take a little bit for the camera to boot up. Now, as you can see, the network activity light is blinking rapidly, and we got a live video feed on the camera. The OUTDOOREXT came to the rescue. So this single cable run is about 650 feet total. What happens if you need to go beyond that? Well, I'm going to show you how to run a network cable, a single network cable run, up to 2,600 feet using two of the IP CamPower OUTDOOREXTs. Here I have two OUTDOOREXTs, and the orientation and the installation method when using two extenders changes a little bit. First of all, you need a little short network cable. This one here is about 6 inches, but don't use anything past a foot or 2 or 3 feet. Nothing past that. And you're going to plug it in your POE switch. And the orientation, like I said, it changes a little bit. The first connector, the output side, is going to be pointed towards the POE switch. Now, as you can imagine, finding a 2,600-foot cable run, a single run on the market was impossible. I could have tried a special order one, but everyone wanted like minimum order quantity, which was just silly. What am I going to do with a lot of 2,600-foot cables? So I had to improvise a little bit. Here I have a standard 1,000-foot box of Cat 6. As you can see, I made connectors on each ends. So I'm going to plug the first box here. Here we're up to 1,000 foot of cable right now. And I'm just going to grab a simple coupler. And then I'm going to get my next 1,000 foot cable run. Now we're at 2,000 feet. And unfortunately, I did not have 600 feet of cable, so I'm hoping that I can use those two 328 feet cable. That's actually going to be about 2,650 feet, a little bit longer than what this extender, this dual extender installation is rated at, but we're going to see if it works. So I got the extra 328 feet right here. Going to plug another coupler in and going to plug the other end of the 328 feet. Now we're at 2,328 feet. Got the last 328 feet cable run here. Again, gonna plug in another coupler. And I'm just gonna put this right on top of this black cable because we're running out of room. Now we're roughly at 2,650 foot of run, give or take a few feet. And we have the camera with a little patch cable connected to it. Again, no longer than 2 or 3 feet. And then we have our second extender. The output side is going towards the camera. The input side is going to point towards the other extender. So basically, the inputs from each extender are pointing to each other. And when I plug this in, let's make sure to take a look at the IR light, make sure it comes on, and we're going to pay attention to the network activity light, see if we get a video feed. And we got the IR coming on, so we know we got power to the camera. And I'll move this up here so you can see a little better. And we're getting some pretty good network activity light, staying on fairly solid. It's going to take a little bit for the camera to boot up. And it appears we got a good solid video feed. Let's check it out here. Yeah, no latency or anything like that. No fidgeting or... Yeah, appears to be a really good solid video feed, no problems at all. Camera's getting power. Looks great. Well, I hope you can see that Outdoor EXT by IPCam Power is a game changer for those really long cable runs. Here are a few tips that you can use if you do plan on running those really long cable runs, especially those ones up to 2,600 feet. The number one tip is the most important. Use good quality cable. Use solid copper cable. Don't use any of that copper clad junk. That stuff is not going to work really good on those long cable runs. It's not going to transmit the data very good, and it's not going to carry the power very good. Don't use it. Use good quality solid copper cable. This extender is rated for both Cat 5e and Cat 6 cable. But if you haven't bought your cable yet and you're in your planning stages, go ahead and get Cat 6 cable, as it has better performance for longer cable runs. Also, if possible, try to avoid using couplers like I did in my video. I know in my video I said it was impossible to try to find like a 2,600 foot run, but whatever your cable run length is, if you can try to find a vendor that can get you one long continuous run, if you have a run that's over 1,000 feet between the extenders, go ahead and do that. Using couplers increases the chances of failure, increases the points of failure, so you're going to have better long-term success if you're able to find a vendor who can get you those special long cable runs. For runs over 2,000 feet, you need to be especially mindful of the power drop that you're going to have over that long of a run. You're going to have a drop in wattage. You'll want to make sure to use an appropriate POE injector or POE switch depending on what the wattage draw of your device is. Here are just a few examples of the drop in wattage that you would experience over the maximum 2,600 foot run using various strengths of POE injectors or POE switches. A more comprehensive list is available on the product page on our website. Now, if you're powering a standard camera like the one we used in our video, the turret camera, or if you're using like a standard dome or bullet, chances are you won't have to worry too much about these power calculations. But if you're using a high-powered camera, such as a PTZ camera, you'll want to do some calculations and pay attention to these tables. Also, for runs over 2,000 feet, please note that you're only going to get about 10 megabits per second maximum throughput speed. Now, this is completely fine for most all IP cameras, even the high-definition 4K IP cameras. So for most all IP camera installations, this is not going to be an issue. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions at all. Thanks for watching.